over 5,000 physical infrastructure built by the state and federal government. Partnership with international community help to strengthen government efforts. We partner with international organizations. Yes, sometimes we differ in our own understandings, but most importantly, the UN OCHA, the UN agencies, and some international organizations and local organizations have given great support to the government of Borno State because we have what we call a return strategy. High-level steering committee meeting headed by the deputy governor. Membership cut across different strata, vertical and horizontal. Representatives of NEMA, representative of Northeast Development Commission, representative of the DSS and other security agencies are also included. So the role and responsibility of this agency is to ensure that the activities that are ongoing in Borno State are in a coordinated manner. Return of internally displaced persons back to their places of origin where we can guarantee peace, continuous support for the security forces and establishment of civilian vigilantes and hunters. Yes, we strengthen the resilience of the community. The only way you can defeat insurgents is to ensure that the resilience of the community is being strengthened. This is something that we did. Whether we like it or not, some of the root causes of the insurgency are not limited to endemic poverty, pervasive illiteracy, increasing infrastructural deficit, climate vulnerabilities, and increasing poverties. How this thing happened? Bad governance. Establishing good governance is key, is sine qua non to ensuring peace building, social cohesion in any state of the federation. Again, security is everybody's business. You cannot just say it's only the federal government that can provide security. Sub-national governments are also very important. Local governments are also very important. You have seen for how many times I was attacked? Many times. But if you are not resilient enough, you can't. A lot of information has been passing that the governor of Borno State has decided to close many internally displaced persons and others by many different non-governmental organizations. It's not true. The reality on ground is that there is increasing prostitution in the internally displaced persons camps. There is increasing drug abuse in the internally displaced persons camps. There is increasing procreation without care in the IDP camps. There is increasing gangsterism in the IDP camp. Recently, you heard what has happened in Borno State. An aid worker raped an internally displaced person and eventually led to her death. Such incidences are growing in a serious geometrical ratio. We have a very serious problem. Right now, we have more than 500,000 internally displaced persons in Monguno. We have about 300 internally displaced persons in Gala local government, 300,000. About 250,000 internally displaced persons in Goza, with dwindling food supply from the international organizations. What will happen at a later date? That is why the government of Borno State, under my distinguished leadership, with the support of the federal government, with the support of the armed forces, decided to relocate people to their ancestral homes or to local government headquarters in a dignified manner. What I mean by in a dignified manner is under the Kampala Convention. We have never forced any IDP to relocate, but we are trying to provide means of livelihood for them. Continuous dependence dependent on handouts from non-governmental organizations is not sustainable. And that was why we opened Baga. Baga is about 250 kilometers away from Maiduguri. I went as far as Doro to the shores of the Lake Chad. Hitherto, the shores of the Lake Chad provides employment opportunities to about 10 million Nigerians. The soil is rich alluvial soil. Nutrient is not a limiting factor there. Water is not a limiting factor there. Last year, what has happened? Look at it. We resettle people back to Baga. Now about 1.5 years, nothing has happened to them. But on my way to Baga, 30 of my policemen were killed. When I was in Baga, I was attacked, but I became resilient. Because food insecurity is the worst form of insecurity. If people will not have the opportunity to produce, insurgency will never end in Nigeria. Believe me sincerely, I'm not trying to sell myself. If not because of the support from the Almighty Allah that we receive, if not because we develop the resilience of the community, if not because I develop resilience, and I pay risks by now, many parts of Nigeria could have been taken over. Because about 1.5 million or 2 million people in Borno State lying idle, having no access to food. What does it mean? They will join ISWAP. They will join Boko Haram. So we created the enabling environment for people to go and farm. This is the only alternative. And the people are yearning to go back home. One of the requests of the population during my electioneering campaign is that they should be given the opportunity for them to go back home. Notwithstanding their own request. We refuse because in the year 2019, in the year 2020, we felt the security situation is not palatable to allow for their return until in 2021. Strengthening of regional dialogue and synergy with neighboring nations. You have seen I have gone to Republic of Chad. Within the last 2 years, I can't count the numbers of times that I've been there, up to 10 times. And normally I used to go by road to the Republic of Niger, to the Republic of Cameroon, to the Republic of Chad. I go by road most of the times. Provision of shelters and rehabilitation of vulnerable, improving service delivery directly to the beneficiaries. You have been seeing me providing food and non-food items directly because monitoring and evaluation is very essential for any government to succeed. Why people voted for me? I can't say I'm the governor of Borno State sitting down in an office with air conditioning while over 2 million people, Nigerians, 2 million Borno State indigents are in a very bad shape. So there's nothing wrong for a governor to go to local government areas. I've been sleeping outside, sometimes not even inside rooms. So these are some of the successes that we have recorded. Functional primary and secondary health facilities. We build many primary schools. Whether we like it or not, there is a need for us to address the lingering problem of infrastructure. Education is key. How many schools have we built? We built 20 megas, more than 20, about 25 mega schools that has the carrying capacity. None of the schools has carrying capacity of less than 2,000. In addition to this one, we rehabilitated hundreds of schools, improved access to education, especially technical and vocational education. I've been saying it time without numbers, that one of the major problems that we're having in Nigeria, in our educational system, two of the major problems are as follows. One, the mismatch between the products of our school and the labor market, which is very important. And then two, the mismatch between our institutions and the industries. These are very critical issues that we need to understand. So government of Borno State decided to build state-of-the-art facilities, build and provide state-of-the-art facilities in some vocational training centers. I built about 6 technical schools. I stopped building secondary schools. There's no way. There's a lot of things happening in Nigeria. You can see some organizations, I don't want to mention them, that they are used to train carpenters in 2 weeks, giving them certificates, electricians in 10 days, tailors in 3 weeks. Nigeria will never become a Nigeria unless we go back to the drawing board. They are just collecting money. So, Borno State government decided to establish sustainable technical and vocational education. You can go and see what is going on in Borno State. Right now, I'm building more. Again, Support economic growth through non-interest grant to SMEs and palm inputs for farmers. We have been providing it. As I told you, we resettled more than 18 communities. Nothing has happened to all these communities that we have resettled from beginning to death. This is an indication that we are achieving a lot. We developed a 25-year development plan and 10-year strategic transformation initiative that is guiding our investment and tracking our progress. Our vision is a secured, competitive agribusiness and commercial hub anchored on prosperous, dignified people, and sustained development. In 10 years, we plan to have a self-reliant Borno with over 70% productive population by 2030. Under this administration, the federal government has provided 10,000 housing to Borno State. Let me also use this opportunity to commend the efforts of NEMA, Custom Services, Kakobit Committee, Northeast Development Commission, and Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs in providing food and non-food items to our IDPs. Huge quantum of food has been delivered to the people of Borno State. Stability is very important, without which we can't. Again, as I told you, we built about 432 classrooms and 242 watch facilities. You have heard a lot. Within the last 2 years, we provided over 560 projects. We recruited about 1,000 health personnel, constructed 24 new roads, including flyovers in Maiduguri, 18 existing roads in rehabilitation. Most importantly, there is something that this administration did to Borno State that will go a long way in reducing the insurgency. The federal government has approved for the reconstruction, for the construction of Bama Banki Road, Dikwa Gamborungala Road. These are the two major roads that can improve the economic well-being of the people of Borno State under the tax credit scheme. Dangote will do it, and we remain eternally grateful. We built about 779 boreholes. All these figures that I'm saying, if anybody has any iota of doubt, we are ready to provide the coordinates of these projects that we did. Again, in farming communities, areas under cultivation were increased by about 700%. Then, the most important thing that I want you to understand is that these farming activities is very important. You can leave Maiduguri now, up to Baga, you can see people farming. We embark on serious irrigation activities also, supporting the farmers. We supported nothing fewer than 20,000 heads of household by providing them with irrigation equipments. All these achievements could never be feasible without the support of the federal government, without the support of the Nigerian armed forces. We remain eternally grateful to all of them. On the voluntary return of internally displaced persons, I think this is something which is very important that we say it so. But the requirement for resettlement are as follows. Location, security clearance by military commandant. First of all, we do use to receive clearance by military. We provide housing, either transition shelters, permanent or rented homes. Health facility appropriate for the population. Safe drinking, school, police station or police post, marketplace, traditional rulers resource center, civil defense officers, establishment of civil authorities, police officers, teachers, healthcare providers, nurses, midwives. Community centers, solar electricity, places of worship, free access and movement, market relevant skills and livelihood plan for youth and women in particular. All these are conditions for return. We are very we are not mindful. So all these are factors that were considered before returning back people. Let me use this opportunity to also mention one very important thing. The committee that has been established, that was inaugurated by Mr. President yesterday, is one of the most important committees. Committee on Repatriation and Resettlement of Internally Displaced Persons. This committee will also look into the management of the defectors. This committee is headed by the Vice President, while I'm the Vice Chair. The membership drawn from all organizations, especially Army, Police, Northeast Development Commission, Humanitarian, among others. And most importantly, the governors of Adamawa, Gombe, and Yobe State are also included. So, again, we are providing houses to the returnees. Food and condiments are provided. An older member of the family will be provided with startup packages. Married women are also provided with packages. For those voluntarily returning to rural areas, access to farming land will be provided also. Children will be enrolled back to school. Stalls and shops will be allocated to community traders. Once homes are allocated to a family in a safe environment, they will not be received back into the camps. Families will be encouraged to adopt orphans from the same socio-cultural activities. Challenges. All what I've said now could never be feasible without the support of the government. But notwithstanding all the contributions of the federal government, we still have some challenges. One, I said it even before, that growing number of ISWA in some parts of the state is a matter of great concern to everybody. Where? In the shores of the Lake Chad. Again, in southern Borno State. Luckily enough, I was told there was military deployment yesterday to southern Borno State to fight the insurgents in the Tambukta Triangle. But I think this is an early warning system. We shouldn't allow ISWAP to grow. ISWAP are more sophisticated, they are well-funded, they are more educated. And we shall do everything possible to defeat ISWAP. Otherwise, what Boko Haram did will be a child play. This is an early warning system. Nigerian army has to re-strategize and defeat ISWAP. ISWAP will be a threat to the entire nation. Because of the fragility of the sub-Saharan Africa, they are coming from Libya and others, resettling there. And then, whether we like it or not, a few days ago, I've spoken something about 2 local governments are still not occupied by human population. I think there is some certain misunderstanding. Some say that 2 local governments are under the control of Boko Haram. No. 2 local governments are not occupied by human population. But whether we like it or not, it's right, because if 2 local governments are not occupied, what does it mean? It means the capacity is not there to protect the human population to go to these local government areas. But we are working with the Nigerian army to ensure immediate resettlement of people to Malampatori, which is the headquarters of Abadam local government. And again, Gudumbali, headquarters of Mairari local government. We are not saying that these 2 local governments are under their control, but these 2 local governments are not under human occupation. We need support from the federal government to support the relocation of these people to these local government areas. This committee that has been constituted by the federal government will look into these matters, among others. We want clearance of the shores of the Lake Chad. Again, in conclusion, while the challenge of insecurity is being solved gradually, it is not yet over. I said it time without numbers, that in addition to what we are doing, I said it time without numbers, that there is a need for government of Nigeria to rethink and look into the possibility of hiring mercenaries. I said it time without numbers. There is nothing wrong. America, Britain, many more countries that are stronger than Nigeria do use to seek support outside. There's nothing wrong. Because this problem has been compounded. And it's not easy for us to solve the security challenges that we're having now at the time. While Nigeria is providing a lot of things, federal government is buying equipment, there is a need for us to seek support from external agencies to defeat these insurgents once and for all, before the matter will reach other parts of the nation. This is very important. Whether we like it or not, we have an existing gaps that we need to fill it. And this gap by now cannot be filled without external support. While we shall continue to build our own institutions, training and retraining. One very serious challenge that we have, our recruitment process has to be looked into. Yes, you can just say recruitment of army, collecting notes from governors, from ministers, from others, and then people are queuing it. As long as we are not willing to sanitize our recruitment procedures to the armed forces, to police, SS, and others, we shall not get the right thing. These are something that we need to be taught. The bitter truth is better. And then funding is critical. Yes, many fundings were released to the military. Let us investigate how much has been trickled down. The commanding officers are very important. Procurement processes are also very important. Then stronger solidarity among the security forces and sustained campaign needed to finish off the remnants of the insurgents in the fringes of the Northeast is very important. Resettlement needs to go hand in hand with livelihood support. More resources needed to do more for the people. Greater understanding required with security forces to support protection action in places of resettlement and all over Borno. The last but not the least, we must not allow the 2023 general election to shift our attention completely away from the focus on restoration of peace in the Northeast and indeed other parts of the nation. Thank you very much.
National organizations.
My only consolation is that